Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. The live situation threw me for a second.
Threw you a little
Threw
bit?
me, just a little.
Yeah.
And it's Thursday. Thursday mornings
Let's
are
see
about the worst day.
if it actually is live, Libby. It says it is.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
I guess it is.
Oh, look at that. That's
See, it's
awesome.
just delayed, folks. If you're watching, it's about 30 seconds delayed if you're cellular, but it's pretty quick if you're on the computer.
Okay.
So, okay?
So we had an election this week, and good news for the fire station and the school. Both those projects passed. They had passed the town meeting. The election vote was required. Got it. We have a new board member. We say farewell to Bruce, who did not run again, and welcome to Dawn Hill Holgate, who had her first meeting last night. Really, her first meeting was at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. yesterday morning when she was sworn in. The board was potentially going to elect officers yesterday morning, but they have postponed that till Tuesday, April 28th at 9 a.m. Sometimes they can't get it together to do the election the day after. It's not the first time, and they need to sort themselves out and then do it. So it's not a bad thing.
And if they want to watch it, which I encourage them to see, because it was an interesting process on how it all came about.
Yes, it always is.
They can watch it on Geno TV. It's right there.
Yes. So at our meeting last night, we had a bunch of announcements. We talked about the town pier, and we got an update from the harbor master about that project. And you have a little show with her.
It starts today.
Great. We had a quick update about pond openings. Sacajah Pond was open this past Monday. Hummock Pond was opened yesterday, so hopefully those both went well and they'll be monitored.
What's the purpose of opening those, Libby?
Well, circulation, flow in the ponds, for one thing, and for another thing.
Is it natural to open those? I mean, they
well,
were ponds.
Evidently for many, many years they've been opened routinely, once or twice a year.
Just to keep
the flow going, but also both of them were very, very high. Sacajah was almost overflowing into the road.
Oh, that's right.
And that's going to get to be a public safety problem. Now, I've had some questions about Maya Comet. Maya Comet's pretty full also, and I'm sure there are basements that are flooding, but although people think it, sometimes it's not from Maya Comet, sometimes it's from Hummock. Anyway, the town's policy for a while now, like 15 or 20 years, has been not to open Maya Comet. Maya Comet is a more difficult pond, evidently, to manage the opening of, because it tends to, I guess, all right, I almost don't really know what I'm talking about, but apparently the way it's, laid out, it's hard to control the flow once it's opened. The other two are a little easier to shut down if need be, but Maya Comet is not. So the times that it had been opened, it almost drained the pond a few times, and that causes problems higher up at the head of the pond.
Not to mention the fish.
Not to mention the fish, right. Anyway, we had that quick update. I'm not going to mention about I'll mention it for people who might be watching right now. The truck route is shut down today because of the paving that's going on at the intersection of Union Street and Francis. The alternate truck route is in effect today only, and it'll be back to normal. They're doing the intersection paving at Union and Francis for the widening.
Yeah.
And
that's going to be interesting.
That is, yeah.
Is that going to be? Will people that want to still take a right be able to have a lane to take a right and go back on Union?
Oh yeah.
So they'll be like almost a little
take a right on Union.
Well, yeah, because because it
mean.
swerves now, and suppose you want to go down Union Street.
You mean if you're coming?
Go back from Francis down into town again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to do the same exact thing you've always been able to do. There's just going to be more room.
It just looks really wide
basically.
now, so you can almost fit a car going towards town and two cars on either side. I don't know.
We'll see how it works out.
Well, those guys know what they're doing.
Anyway, that's all happening today. We had 13 public hearings last night at the board meeting. Almost all of them related to various license issues, transfers, new licenses, things like that. Stop and Shop will have a common victualler license, the out-of-town.
What is that?
It's a license required for selling prepared food, basically.
Oh.
So they're going to be doing that.
Whoa.
New common victualler license at a place called Nino's, which is in the Sanford Boat Building. It's going to be, it's very Stubby's-like.
Well, that's who owns it,
Sounds
right?
like that's who owns it. So that'll be good. I don't know how to say this. NABE, AC, NABE, NABE, I don't know. I didn't catch
Okay.
how they called it. That is a new place at 31 Easy Street, the former, I don't remember what it was called, Arno's? It's had different names.
Oh,
Down
yeah,
on the
yeah,
corner
yeah,
of
right on the corner.
Easy and Broad.
Is that sushi?
I heard it's sushi,
Ooh, that's a big
among
sushi
other
place.
things, but
okay.
but sushi,
Ooh,
a lot of it, I guess.
okay.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Atlas Barbecue and Fish House is replacing Pazzo.
that's Brant,
Brant
the old Cambridge
and
Street.
Gabrielle, yep.
We are
No,
happy to have
yes,
him
the old
back.
Cambridge Street, that's right.
He did a great job.
Another place got mixed approvals. Sprout, it's going to be a little organic market cafe-like place where the Bean was.
Oh, is that going to be Sprout?
That's
That's
Sprout.
not the Green. This is a different.
It's called Sprout.
But is it owned by the same people?
I don't really know.
All right.
They wanted a seasonal package store license. They did not get that.
That is.
But they got the other. It is a tough one. It
There's
is.
so
I mean,
many of them here.
right. That which was the board's concern and the concern of people who spoke in the audience. So that all happened. I gave them some updates under the town manager's report about 4 things. Housing at the town-owned site at 4 Fairgrounds Road, which really we're talking about the portion of the property along Tacoma Way and in the back of the property. We are working on a potential request for proposals to engage a developer to develop the site for housing, probably a mix of affordable, market, maybe some seasonal municipal, reserve a portion of the units for year-round municipal, and then open it up to the community.
How does that work if it's town owned and it's open market? You know,
I don't know,
you don't know yet.
no. But there's a way to make it work, because other towns do it.
I'd
So
say so.
that remains to be figured out, but that's the general
All right.
idea. So we're going to talk about this more on May 6th at the board's meeting. We had an update from our biologist, Tara Riley, about the Brant Point Boathouse. That building is under renovation right now, which means the propagation facility has to be shut down for a period of time, which means we won't have shellfish seed, or whatever you call it, to put out into the harbor this year. But, as Tara pointed out, there is a natural population, and what we do enhances the natural population. So we won't have the enhancement this year, but she's hopeful about the
What are they actually
population.
doing over there? What?
They're renovating the building. Did you ever go on a tour in there?
Oh, of course, I know about
Yeah.
it, but I didn't know that they.
Oh,
were-
it's all cobbled together. It needs a complete renovation on the inside. There's
Okay.
not
They're
really
not
very good
changing
heat.
too much of it, just renovating.
Renovating, yeah. I mean, the purpose of it will remain the same, to have a propagation facility there.
Yeah.
But it needs work. It's not in good condition physically. So anyway, so it's a good thing. But we aren't going to have. I mean, there's no way to get around it. Harbor water quality. We have several town initiatives going on to improve harbor water quality, including some septic system regulation changes that are upcoming before the Board of Health, the fertilizer regulations, marking storm drains. You might see at some of the storm drains around the downtown a little oval, it's not quite it's more than a sticker, it's a sort of a placard kind of a thing that advises people not to dump anything down there because that goes right to the harbor.
Is that a new?
That's a new initiative that was put forward by the Natural Resources Department last weekend
Okay.
in conjunction with an effort to do some cleanup in the so-called Soma area. You know what Soma is?
Nope.
South of Maine.
Boy, things you learn on this show.
I know, exactly. So that was spearheaded by Jason Bridges, owner of Handlebar Cafe, and some other people who, including the clean team, who cleaned up that area. And they really did a great job. But it was also a day from some school kids to work with Natural Resources to put these placards on the storm drains. So that, if you see them around, that's what they are. Some of our other initiatives for water quality include water quality testing, which has already been well underway. Our 2014 testing report came in this week, so we're going to be scheduling a review of that with the board. And There wasn't that much of an update last night because I had given them an update 2 weeks prior. So we'll do another one in May. Town admin, we give them a monthly report of town administration activities, and we did that. Next week at the board meeting, our auditor is coming in to review the 2014 audit. It's a little dated because 2014 ended June 30th, 2014, but this is just how it works. Got a couple public hearings. One relates to town pier regulation and mooring changes. The other relates to a minor change to the taxi, tour, limo, and charter vehicle regulations, which will allow for, let me back up. A couple of years ago at town meeting, we adopted what's called a civil fingerprinting bylaw, which requires that applicants for certain types of licenses must be fingerprinted, and that goes through a system which takes some time. Taxi operators are one of the groups that are required to be fingerprinted. Makes sense. But because of the nature of the taxi operator's permit, they go in and they get it and they leave and they start driving. So there's not any time in between. So it makes it very difficult to get your fingerprinted. You can't do it in 5 minutes. So the regulation change is meant to allow for a temporary up to 30-day permit for them so that the fingerprinting can happen in the interim. So that's
The background check.
the background check kind of thing, yes. We also have third quarter fiscal year 15 budget reports for the general fund and the enterprise funds. And that's what's coming up. We're doing a lot of follow-up from town meeting. We have no board meeting on April 29th. And
That's-
that election of officer.
Is that next week?
No, it's the week after.
Oh,
Next week's the
okay.
22nd.
I see.
The board election of officers, I forget if did I say it? Tuesday, the 28th at 9 a.m. here in this room.
Oh, they're gonna do it here.
At a different, yeah, because they'll need some time to adjust.
What time is that gonna happen?
9
Okay.
a.m. And that's what's going on.
Well, that's great. Are you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
No, a lot's going on.
Just too many things
Just too
to
many
talk
things.
about.
It's all
We could
good.
talk about that for a day or two.
Oh, well,
Later, Gino, later. We-
all right.
So I think that's it. Now, next week, I won't be here, so Greg could do the show maybe with Jim.
Okay, that's a great
Or
idea.
do you want, you?
Jim will do it.
Yeah,
Jim and Greg will
do you want to do it after the
Right
meeting?
after.
Okay, so I'll tell Greg right after.
That'll be
All right.
great, so people can look forward to that.
Yes. Great. Okay, thanks very much. See you next time.